Well, folks, this is pretty much it. I will post a couple of study and prep videos for the final exam itself, just a couple of going through practice questions and whatnot, but this is pretty much it for the material. It's been a little weird delivering the course this way and miss seeing you all in class, but it's been a good term so far. Hope it's worked out well for you. Hope you enjoyed the course and hope that it actually helped to set you up kind of reasonably for some of the other things that you're going to be doing in this business. I will go through and talk about sort of the course in general and whatnot, but I just wanted to say thanks for participating. It's been a pleasure. All right, in terms of the, I guess, final wrap up for this, again, hopefully you've gone through and this has made you aware of at least some of the bigger problems to consider when we're dealing with larger projects. So different aspects of software engineering that we don't usually get to cover in the first and early second year courses. So things like task automation and scripting, right? Tools to make your work more reliable and more efficient, right? Setting things up in a script so that you're not always doing them by hand and potentially messing them up. An introduction to some of the common tools and approaches and processes that you're going to be working with. So things like version control and Git, or things like debugging and debuggers, and we use GDB as the example, but you'll undoubtedly get to work with better debuggers as time goes on. Profilers, so for things like CPU utilization and memory use and whatnot, so gprof or valgrind. The use of automated build processes, so whether that's something provided in your IDE or whether you're doing it yourself through something like Make. Again, that process of automation makes your life a lot more effective, makes your work a lot more efficient. Some of the things in terms of templates and libraries and the idea of making effective reuse of code. Things like, in terms of software design, getting used to some of the concepts, right? Looking at things like coupling and cohesion and thinking about abstraction and maybe thinking about design patterns that we touched on a little later on as well. Some of the common software development life cycles, right? Things like the agile approach or the waterfall approach or the spiral approach, and just thinking about the pros and cons of different approaches and what's the best way to do things for the project that you're on now, with the team you have now. Looking at things like code standards and code inspections. And again, what's the point? What are the advantages of doing it? What are the drawbacks of doing things like that? What are the drawbacks of standards, and what are the advantages of standards? Why do we do these things? Right? What is the cost? What's the benefit for us? Some of the issues in terms of product rollout or deployment, doing upgrades and patches. What are the things that we should be thinking about and planning on there? We spent a good chunk of time looking at software testing, right? Automated testing, looking at different levels of testing and test planning and developing test cases and thinking about from the beginning, what do we need to worry about as far as testing goes with our final product, right? Not making that an afterthought as we get into the final days of a project. Just in terms of looking ahead a little bit, the final exam is basically going to be run like an extra long quiz, so 3 hours instead of 50 minutes, but the same basic idea. It'll be available for 12 hours. There is an officially posted time in the VIU schedule just to make sure that you've got a conflict-free 3 hours to do it, but you can do it anywhere in the 12-hour window. So I think it's December 16th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Anywhere in that 12-hour window you can complete it. Right? You've still got the time limit of 3 hours once you start, but again, it's your choice of what window you want to use. The questions can be pretty much anything. Again, I will post another video that goes through and talks about the exam itself in some detail, the topics, the question styles, and that sort of thing. But stuff to be thinking about. And of course, it's going to be a mix of theory and applied. I will be available the usual times during the exam period. So what were our lab and lecture office or lecture hours and my office hours. I'll still be available for those. If you've got questions, feel free. We can set up a Zoom meeting. You can catch me on Discord. You can fire me an email. Whatever works out. If you've got things that you want to go over, we can have a chance to talk about them before the exam. And other than that, I hope the exam goes well. I hope your final wrap-up for courses and projects and all your final exams work out well, and you have a decent break, and I get to see lots of you again in other courses, either next semester or next year. Hopefully, if it's next year, it's actually face-to-face. That would be nice, but we'll see how things go. Okay, thank you, folks. We will see you again.